one of River State political leaders. Ms. Ann-Kio Briggs is live for us. Thank you so much indeed, ma'am. And Happy New Year. It's good to see you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me at this evening, and good evening to you, and a Happy New Year.
Thank you so much indeed. Impeachment 2.0 on Governor Fubara. The last time around, you're one of those who thought that impeachment process on the governor will derail governance in the state and has caused a lot of trouble in the waters of Rivers politics. But again, the impeachment process is back again. We thought all was over when the president intervened, and I thought that everybody would go home and resolve their differences. But we're back here again talking about Rivers political crisis with what has happened today. The decision of the Chief Judge of Rivers State to decline setting up this committee, which is one of the constitutional procedure of impeachment on a governor. Let me get your view, your take on what happened today. Seems you are muted from your side.
Okay. I've noticed that. Thank you. Yes, I think some may not agree with you that I'm a political leader, but I will agree with you and accept that definitely I am interested in what politicians do in my name, in Rivers State, in Niger Delta, and even in Nigeria. And so when we come to Rivers State, since 2023, when we look back and the shenanigans that has gone on and what I call political madness in Rivers State, to stop the governor, Governor Similayi Fubara, by all means necessary from carrying out his constitutional duties to the people of Rivers State. Is not news to anybody, and the very people who have been in the forefront, the state assembly members that have been in the very forefront of making life difficult for Rivers people, not just, the governor is just one person. We're millions of people in Rivers State, and life has been very difficult for us. And that's because of the people that we're supposed to have elected to represent us. And I think, I'm not a lawyer, but going through what the Chief Judge had said, it's like you cannot stop me from carrying out certain duties by going to court and getting a court order from doing certain things, and then get a judgment on it and come back. Maybe you forgot that you've made this proposition and that I am held back by you taking this action from actually doing what you're asking me to do in 2026 in Rivers State. So it's if it is not that it is painful that the people of Rivers State have had to endure this since 2023, it's comical. How did these lawmakers get here? And who really are they representing? Some of them are supposed to be lawyers. And so they don't even remember that they have gone to court to seek certain things not to happen in Rivers State, and then also turn around and want those things to be done in Rivers State, which is what the Chief Judge has said. I can't. My hands are tied legally and constitutionally. So but for me as a person, I think Rivers people are beginning to see a light in the and we're going to breathe. We're going to begin to breathe. People's knees are going to come off governance in Rivers State, and I think it's for me. I'm relieved. I'm slightly relieved that we're finding ourselves in this position.
Well, give me an idea, ma'am, if you may. What do you think could be Because this is an awakening of a so-called dead or resolved political fight or feud. But now we're seeing it happening again. What do you think could have been the real cause of this renewed hostility?
The only thing that I, as a Rivers daughter, can see is that right from the moment we were told that we've made peace, we've agreed, we will work together, and all those things, very clearly, as I said at the time, that until we actually see it, it is not happening. And so it's very clear that all of those things are untrue. It was never true that that they had agreed to work together. Otherwise, a lot of things that happened from when the ban was lifted, the ban was lifted, and when Fobara came back in September, there were things that were supposed to happen politically. They were supposed to start working with the governor, both the the local government chairman, the state assembly members, and yet you constantly saw, everybody in Nigeria constantly saw that the state assembly members at every turn of any event that they were against the government of Rivers State under Sir Asimila Ifobra, and therefore they were against the people of Rivers State. And so the fact that we woke up to the new drive to impeach the governor, for me it was not a surprise, because I didn't believe they were honest and that they meant it when they said that they're going to work with him. I didn't believe them then, and I've been proven right. So, like I said, the people of Rivers State are beginning to see very clearly now where the problem has always been, which is that Fubara was never and has never been the problem in this political shenanigans that we have we've had to live with in Rivers State. And if you recall, the states, the South geopolitical zone, had crossed over to APC, and Fubara was the last governor to cross over to APC. The lawmakers crossed over, then they didn't cross over, then they eventually crossed over. So Fubara is also now an APC governor. And so if he's an APC governor, it will actually shock Rivers people and myself if the very same APC that he has joined will now turn around and turn against him. And because they want to do everything to remove him, they've just gone ahead to forget what the chief judge have reminded them about today, which is that he cannot constitute the 7-man or whatever man panel that they had called him to constitute, simply because they themselves have made it possible for him not to be able to constitute that 7-man panel to impeach the governor and his deputy. And mind you, if they had succeeded, if they had succeeded in impeaching the governor, then the speaker would, I believe, have been the governor of Rivers State. And that brings us right back to square one, which is disregarding the riverine upland dichotomy in Rivers State. And whether people like it or not, I will continue to say this, because there is a political dichotomy in Rivers State where the upland should govern for 8 years and the riverine should govern for 8 years. But what we've had so far in Rivers State is that the upland have governed in total for 24 years since Obasanjo, since 1999. And so any attempt to remove the riverine governor is going to be met with resistance, both from well-meaning other ethnic nationalities in River State and the riverine.
But quickly, is it fair? I know that you are favorably leaned towards Governor Fubara, and you had always positioned to say, look, it's better to allow Fubara to be for the sake of governance of River State. But there are those who say, so for those some of you who have always blamed Nyesom Wike for the political trouble in the state, there are those who say, look, is it possible that Wike could be wrong at every time? And on the other side, we say Fubara could also be politically incorrect. Yes, there are those who think that Wike maybe demanding based on our agreements, and he's always sang the song Inyedeba, Inyedeba. Agreement is agreement. When they had that relationship, maybe a lot of people are not privy to. Whatever that has gone down between both of them, you and I may not be privy to. But could Wike be wrong at all times? What about Fubara? Because there are those who say some quiet people could be very notorious sometimes. There are those who are of this position.
Let me tell you, even if we start with Iyendeba, political power has not been Iyendeba. It has always been with the upland, which is where Wike comes from, which is where Mechi comes from, which is where Sapita Odili comes from. When you say Godfather, there is nothing. I mean, when did Rivers people accept or agree that political choices are made on the basis of godfatherism? I have never accepted it. And I believe that it is a problem that Nigeria has, that you accept that somehow somebody who is leaving office has a right to put another person in. Okay, if that be the case, did Amechi put Nyesom Wike in office? No, he didn't. If you look at sharing the former president of Nigeria, Jonathan Goodluck, Jonathan, sorry, is he made it possible for Wike to emerge. So did his wife, Patience Goodluck, then Patience Goodluck. She also made it possible. So basically then, Wike cannot say that he has not been a beneficiary, first as an uplander, and second as an Ikwere son, and that it is not fair or just that the Ikwere should govern for 16 years, and the upland should govern for 24 years in total, and the riverine people are left out. Now, when you say what Fubara, is he not responsible? In what way is Fubara responsible? Where is it in the constitution that when you're leaving office, that you somehow are permitted by the constitution to go into an agreement, whatever agreement, and I've maintained this position, whatever agreement Nyesom Wike and the present governor of River State may or may not have gone into, they didn't come to the public of Rivers people and say, look, this is what we are agreeing in the role of your governance. Are you agreeing to this? They didn't do that. So when there is a disagreement that seriously affects the development and the lives and security and governance deliverance of the people of Rivers State, you have no right to raise the issue of agreement.
But ma'am, so the question is that if we're raising this morality question, there are those who will say, but there was someone who accepted to be a godfather and the other party who accepted to be a godson. At what point is that relationship went awry that now we are called into the mix of things? And those who will say, wait a minute, somebody made somebody, but at what point did it go wrong?
Whatever point it went wrong, The moral of this whole thing that is going on in Rivers State, and what Nigerians as a whole have to take into consideration come 2027 and moving forward, is that you cannot shave the heads of people behind their backs. No matter what how did you go, what is it, what's the agreement? Shehu, do you know the agreement that Nyesom Wike is shouting about? Agreement, everybody shouting agreement. The lawmakers are shouting, and supporters of Nyesom Wike are shouting, no Wike, no Rivers State. You can't say that. I mean, everybody else in Rivers, I mean, how can you say that without one man, a state will not exist? Where is that political? And where is it acceptable? Well, it may be acceptable anywhere else, but I do not believe that the majority, and I do know that the majority of Rivers people are in support of Similayo Fubara. His support is organic. And therefore, if today he finds himself, for whatever reasons he has decided as the governor of Rivers State, that he has to move to the APC to survive as a governor of Rivers State, then the organic support he has is fully behind him. I may not be a member of APC, but I am a daughter of Rivers State. And when it comes to the elections in Rivers State, I know whom I'm going to vote for. It will depend on what the person is offering and the circumstances. And so whether the person is in APC or PDP had the Niger Delta for how many years? They only just lost it in Tinubu's tenure, and it's not even up to 3 years that PDP lost this region. It was fully and totally a PDP region, and yet somehow the PDP allowed it to slip out of his hands. So the position remains the same, that we from the beginning, I included, and so many other people, have stood with the position of Similayo Fubara, that he is the governor of Rivers State, and that we're happy with how, look, if Similayo Fubara does not govern well tomorrow, you know that I will be one of the first people that will raise objection to whatever he's doing that I do not support. And Nyesom Wike also knows that is my position in Rivers politics. As a matter of fact, in Nigerian politics, full stop, in Niger Delta politics. The reality is that Rivers people have endured a lot in this drama, political drama, and it has failed. Even the president must know, quietly, silently, even if he doesn't say it publicly, he must know. The federal government must know. The security apparatus must know that this cannot go on much longer. What is going on in Rivers State, there has to be an end to it. And perhaps we are at the beginning.
All right.
The end of what is going on in Rivers State, and that no other state will have to endure this moving forward in Nigeria, so that the people of Nigeria as a whole, the people of Rivers State, will actually be able to have deliverance of true governance to the people, and not just a handful of people getting up to make decisions over and above the head of the people that own the powers of politics. We own the powers of politics in Rivers State, not the FCT minister, not even Governor Similayo Fubara himself. We, the people, own those powers. And if they are fortunate enough, and we trust them enough, and we have given them those powers, they should not use those powers to oppress us. This is what is playing out in Rivers State.
I'd like us to anchor in this manner. There are those who believe that if this impeachment 2.0 is allowed to go through, that Governor Fubara will be gone, and that the president even might not be able to save the situation, and perhaps some of the bottlenecks that have happened now, legally speaking, might be a saving grace. But in totality, how do you hope that this conundrum can be salvaged? Who do you think can come into the mix of things that to stem the tide? Because it does look Like those lawmakers are not backing down. You need to remember what the speaker and how angry the speaker was, Speaker Martin Amawule, the day they moved the motion for the impeachment of Governor Fubara. It does look like they are not backing down.
I mean, angry that that what is happening, that Rivers State belongs to him, and that because he is the Speaker of the State Assembly, that his decision is final and Rivers people have to take it or lump it. No. I want to believe that any reasonable person, any cautious person, even President Bola Tinubu himself, even the security apparatus themselves must realize that apart from the security issues that are now spread across the whole of Nigeria for one reason or the other, that to continue to allow the Rivers State House of Assembly members and the Speaker and some Ijaw people to say that what they want is that the governor of Rivers State must go or Rivers State will not exist. How reasonable, I mean, how can any reasonable person even sit down and listen to that from the beginning to the end? It's not possible.
Just a moment. Let me remind our viewers, and quickly I'd like you to wrap up on it. This was what the Speaker Amawule said. And his offenses, and he said these are the sins of Governor Fubara as far as the lawmakers are concerned. Let me remind everyone on what he said the day they moved the motion of impeachment.
Those in favor that the allegations of gross misconduct against Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Professor Ngozi Umah Odo, DSSRS, be investigated should indicate by raising their hands. The clerk has ensured that the votes are counted. Those in favor that the investigation should proceed are 25 in number. Against, nil. Abstention, nil. Distinguished colleagues, by this voting, the Rivers State House of Assembly has resolved that investigations against allegations of gross misconduct.
All right, that was the day, and I'd like you to wrap up. What do you think this could, how do you think rather this could be salvaged?
As far as I'm concerned, the people of Rivers State have the final say. And it's the members of the State House of Assembly that unfortunately do not have this knowledge that the power they claim to be exercising is not theirs to exercise. It's the people of Rivers State that own this power to exercise. I want to caution, and I'm calling on the federal government, and now I'm going to call on the president, and I'm calling on the political party APC, that they have received the governor of Rivers State as a governor into their political party, of which the Rivers State House of Assembly members are also members of that political party. The APC ought to be very careful. It's going into election next year. It has to be very careful how it is going to go about winning this election, how it is going to go about securing the votes of Niger Delta as a whole, and securing the votes of Rivers people in total and specifically. We want Governor Similaye Fubara to remain. That's the people, not this assembly is going to, the state assembly members are not going to tell us who we should vote for. We will choose whom we will vote for. They are also looking for our votes, and so they cannot tell us that we cannot vote for similar Ifobra, we cannot have similar Ifobra, but we can have them. No, they are not going to shove themselves down our throats. And I think the president himself is very much aware of this. This politics in Rivers State has to come to an end. Otherwise, what we're going to stare in the future, because they've tried everything to remove him, everything, and they have not succeeded. I think they should take a breather and let it go.
All right. Ms. Ann-Kio Briggs is an environmental evangelist and